Hi, and welcome to Loving Soulfully webinars. I wonder if you ever thought about what it would be like if your mind didn't criticize you, if you didn't criticize others, if you didn't get agitated and irritated and angry and triggered by the things that either you did or others did to you. What if you didn't actually react the way you normally do? It would be pretty amazing, wouldn't it? Well, I have a whole bunch of stuff here to talk to you about, and let's dive right into it. Hi, my name's Rohit, and today we're going to talk about how we transform self-judgment to self-love. Now, I know we all know that it's a good thing not to judge ourselves, it's a good thing not to judge others, but telling ourselves that we shouldn't do it doesn't seem to work. I don't know if you've tried. If you've tried not getting angry, not getting upset, irritated when you're in line, or someone does something you don't like, or seeing what they're doing wrong. I mean, isn't it, I feel it's the first impetus that comes up within us to tell them what they're doing wrong and what they should do right. Somehow, our telling them doesn't seem to help. Telling ourselves doesn't seem to help. Our judgment, our criticism, whether it's with our kids, whether it's with our friends or our lovers, just doesn't seem to have the right effect. And definitely telling ourselves that doesn't seem to work either. So I'm going to be talking with you today about how to transform self-judgment into self-love. As a therapist, I've often gone into what a person thinks at the deepest level. And in my counseling work, I find that when we dig deeper and deeper and deeper into a person's life story, we find at the core of it all is the belief that I'm not good enough. And this is like a comparison. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not rich enough. In whichever way you say it, there's this comparison with others. There's always someone who is better. There's always someone who has more. Someone who you envy, someone who you wish you could be like. I don't know, do you relate to that? Is that something you experience? I know I have, and therefore I've had to really dig deep to understand this. There's often the feeling, personally I used to have, that I'm not like them. I'm somehow different. Now, whether that is because of your ethnicity, because of your gender, because of whatever it be, your upbringing, your parents, whatever it was, there's this deep feeling that something about me is not the same. Others seem happy, I'm not happy. Others seem healthy, I'm not. Others seem well-to-do or successful or anything, but I'm somehow not. That something is in fact wrong with me. That's a deep one. It goes really deep. It goes to the root of our identity. It goes to the root of this feeling that I am flawed, imperfect, defective, inadequate. If you resonate with any of these thoughts, if at your core you've ever felt this, then this is what drives our lives. We spend our entire life trying to mask this feeling. We try to look fit. We try to cover it up. We want to look good. We want to impress others. We want people to like us and love us. We want approval, recognition, validation. Yeah, we take it for granted that this is normal, that we should want that. You know, listen, it's the human condition. But we haven't really stopped to look at why are we trying to struggle to be fit, young, successful, to try to prove ourselves, to try to get people's approval. Why? And then if we don't get it, here's the sad part. Or if you lose it, like if you lose your job or you lose the success that you had, or you become older, or you become somehow less smart than others, you find you give up. Some people become hopeless. They become depressed. And it's a really sad and horrible journey that they have to go through at that time to try to really find themselves again. Because we're living this mask of a life. We're living this cover-up, and we don't even know why. So to come to the root of it, we need to ask some core questions that I'd like to challenge you with. What if none of this was true? What if none of this struggle was necessary. It's very easy to love something that is perfect, but loving something that is imperfect, that's not easy. Loving ourselves when we are flawed, that's not easy. You want to love someone who's got a perfect body, who's got perfect intelligence, who's perfectly brilliant. Sure, everybody loves such a person. But love someone who is imperfect. Love someone who is flawed. You know, like how a mother looks at her baby and the baby's got wrinkly skin and is all kind of like ugly looking, but the mom thinks, oh my God, this is so beautiful, my baby. Yes, that's where unconditional love can be found. And in that experience, as we expand that further and we look at, sometimes I see photographers, they'll take pictures of really old people or places that are really messy, you know, maybe not poor and poverty, but they'll make it into something beautiful. Can you find beauty in imperfection? Can you find beauty in that which is flawed? That's our job. So it's meaningless to cultivate unconditional love in a perfect world. The world had to be created imperfect. We start off in the beginning as perfectly adorable children. We all start off that way. And then we get messed up. We emerge out of it flawed, imperfect, having all kinds of doubts about ourselves. And then from there, we are now ready to learn to accept ourselves as we are, with all our flaws. We then begin the journey to unconditional love. Now, let's take another moment to breathe. Breathe deeply into your belly. Just close your eyes, go within, take a deep breath. Real breathing means your belly needs to move in and out as you breathe and not your chest. Because at the bottom of your belly, or rather at the bottom of your lungs, lie all the blood vessels. 80% of the blood vessels are at the bottom of your lungs. And when you're breathing from your chest, your body is not getting enough oxygen, so you're in a tense, stressed out fight or flight mode. You tend to be anxious and fearful. But when you breathe deeply and the air goes all the way down to the bottom of your lungs, your body gets what it's been needing all along: oxygen. That oxygen generates serotonin. That serotonin makes you feel good at a physical level. Tune into the energy of your breath. Feel it. Don't just breathe. But as you breathe deeply, feel the energy of your breath. Instead of trying to understand it, feel it. Now maximize that feeling. Intensify your sensations. Dive deep into what lies within you. Your breath is the doorway that will take you within your soul. Savor your breath, and like you would your favorite food or dessert, let it take you into its own delicious, beautiful world. Let it take you out of your head and into your body and into its own magical universe. And if you like, move your body to its vibration as if you're moving to sensual music. Let your breath move through you. It is very powerful and very addictive. I often tell people I'm addicted to my breath. That's my drug of choice. Okay, come back and let's check. How did it feel? Where does this feeling come from? Ask yourself, what if this soul is a particle of God within you? What if the soul is the DNA of God? Think about it. Just like DNA is a tiny molecular particle, we too are molecular particles of the divine. As you experience your soul, you are experiencing God. Now check, is there any judgment or criticism within? Is your true self, your soul, flawed? Or is it perfect? You see, now you have a frame of reference, an experience, that you can inform your mind. You know what? I'm a beautiful, perfect, incredible being at a soul level. I was created this way. And I acknowledge that with the deepest of humility, because I didn't create myself this way. I'm experiencing myself as a part of God. Okay, so coming from there, let's realize that nothing in this world will ever be perfect. No matter how beautiful you are or how beautiful your body is, it will get old. No matter how rich you are, you will die empty-handed. I'm not trying to be pessimistic. I'm just laying it out like it is. As a soul, however, none of that is true. You are eternally perfect, abundant, youthful, vibrant, all of those things. You will never be sick. Your soul will never get old, and you will never die. So it's a paradox. And as we live in this paradox, we need to learn how to make this into something that's real for us. Let's begin some practical exercises to get into this. Self-love is not about being good or feeling good. Let's get our definitions clear. Self-love is not about being liked or loved by others. Self-love is not about self-esteem or self-improvement. Self-love is actually about loving the unlovable parts of yourself. Self-love is about cultivating unconditional love. And that begins with a very, very important topic: mistakes. We were all given free will and choice. We will all make mistakes. We will always make mistakes. There will never be a time when we will stop making mistakes. Take it as a given. Once you accept that, it'll become much easier to stop judging yourself. So let's begin by a little activity. Recall some of your past mistakes, 1, 2, 3, whatever you feel like. And instead of getting critical with yourself, just try an experiment. Get excited and say to yourself, "Yay, I made a mistake." Your mind will say, "What is wrong with you? Are you crazy?" And then instead of answering that, just say, "What can I learn from this mistake?" If you do this on a regular basis, you will find your mind will change the pattern or the association that it has with mistakes. Remember again, let me go over the steps. When you make a mistake, get excited. The easiest way to get excited is say, "Yes, I made a mistake. What can I learn from it?" Immediately say, "What can I learn from it?" That way your mind doesn't go into that thing of beating you up, and then finally somewhere you get the point in your head, "Oh, I need to learn something from this." Or your friend needs to ask. No, none of that. Just immediately ask yourself, "What can I learn from this?" Yes, what can I learn from this? Now declare to yourself and say this after me: I was created to explore, experiment, and experience. My mistakes help me learn and improve myself. My mistakes make me a better person. My mistakes are my most valued treasures. I give myself permission to make mistakes and learn from them. Let's say it again. I give myself permission to make mistakes and learn from them. Please take this to heart and see how it changes your life. Now observe how your mind opens up when you do this and becomes curious. It's willing to learn and try new things. In time, you'll notice how tolerance, forgiveness for other people's mistakes and flaws comes naturally. You see, the opposite happens. The more critical we are of ourselves and our mistakes, the more critical we become of others and their mistakes and their flaws. We then have a hard time in forgiving them. We have a hard time, we tend to try to tolerate them. We become passive-aggressive. None of that will happen if you have made this change within yourself first. It all starts with you. Okay. The second thing that really plagues most of us is the word should. I know many of you know this, but for those of you that don't, I'm going to kind of repeat it. Instead of shoulding yourself, ask yourself, how do I feel? What do I want? Instead of I should do this, or I should have done this, or I shouldn't do this, ask yourself, what am I feeling? What do I want? Once again, what am I feeling? What do I want? This will overthrow years and centuries of conditioning in which we were told what to want, what to think, what to do. For centuries this has been plaguing us, and this disease is sitting in our mind. So breaking it will make a huge difference in your life. Instead of that, let's try to have loving thoughts. The healthiest attitude towards your thoughts is to observe them. to hold them lovingly. So when you have thoughts coming in, observe them. Don't believe them, don't buy into them, but observe them. Hold them lovingly. Really, that's what you think. Okay. Without agreeing or disagreeing, without believing or disbelieving your thoughts, without attachment or personalization or identification. Just because someone said something, just because you thought something, doesn't make it true. If you can practice this, you'll develop an incredibly loving relationship to your thoughts. It's not that we need to stop our thoughts. We need to learn how to deal with our thoughts in a more loving, compassionate, and deliberate way. Watch then as your thoughts are unable to get hold of you and they begin to gradually vanish into oblivion. The reason they have such a hold on you is because you buy into them. When you stop buying into them, when you stop believing them, when you stop resisting them, when you stop fighting them, they lose their power. And then you'll find that your thoughts will become a source of rich creative ideas and inspiration. Or, if you don't, it can be what's called the devil's workshop, a chaotic force that repeatedly tends to drag us towards negativity, self-deprecation, anxiety, neurosis, etc. Choose. The choice is entirely yours. What would you prefer? The third and very, very important thing we're going to work on today is self-hate. Now, most people won't call it self-hate. They might have self-loathing, deprecation, judgment, criticism, some version of that. So let's begin by asking yourself, what do you hate about yourself? Take a moment, maybe jot it down. 2 or 3 words that come to your mind that you hate about yourself. Be brutally honest. Examine various aspects of yourself, physical, mental, etc. I hate or dislike or am ashamed of or embarrassed about, dash. Whatever that is. I can't stand, I'm not okay with, dash. What is it about yourself that you can't, that you hate, or whatever? Read through your list now. What is the exact feeling that each item generates in you? Take a moment. Next to that word, write down the feeling. Are there slight variations in the feeling, or is it all the same? If you were to grade your feelings from 1 to 10, 10 being hate and 1 being dislike, how would you grade them? Go ahead, take a moment to work on this. Now I'd like you to take all your negative thoughts and feelings about yourself, at least the 2 or 3 that you've come up with right now. You can do it later and you can work on more of them. Put them into a bag outside yourself. These negative thoughts and feelings about yourself, put them into a bag, a sort of ethereal bag. Let's say a bag of light if you like, or some kind of bag outside yourself. Now imagine sending a beam of golden healing light from your heart or your soul to this bag of negativity. And as you do that, visualize all the negativity in the bag dissolving, melting, vaporizing, and disappearing into space. Gradually see the bag being filled with golden light and radiating light energy. You can do this with any of the feelings you hate about yourself, and you can do it repeatedly. Then say to yourself, I love myself for thinking negative thoughts about myself. So instead of fighting it, we're going to love it. I love myself for thinking negative thoughts about myself. I love myself for feeling negative feelings about myself. Keep repeating after me. I love myself for feeling negative feelings about myself. I love myself for hating myself. I love myself for hating myself. And finally, I love and accept myself as I am. I love and accept myself as I am. Repeat this until you have a clear sense of loving yourself for hating yourself and others. Repetition makes everything easier. Remember to accept yourself the way you are. Love yourself, especially when you don't feel good. When you feel not good enough, flawed, messed up, that's the perfect opportunity to practice self-love. Practice till you have a fluid ease with transforming self-hate or criticism or judgment to self-acceptance, and from there to unconditional self-love. I hope you'll continue practicing these things in your life, and I'll see you back in the Q&A. Hi, and I hope you enjoyed that. I've been getting some questions in, and I hope the rest of you will continue asking whatever questions you have. I really look forward to that. There's a lot to share. First, let me share with you something about why I'm so passionate about this subject. What I find is this, that there's a massive need for a new framework, a new way of looking at things. We've had the whole psychology and self-help and self-improvement movement and all of that stuff, but we need something that goes a lot deeper. The problem is actually almost epidemic. I've been reading about some of the statistics around about how, for example, teen suicide has become the third cause of death amongst young people. And 1 out of 4 girls has sex for the first time to be more liked or popular. And the boys and girls join gangs to feel more important. Now, I don't know how many of you relate to that, but we do things because people will like us. We'll be accepted. We want to be loved. We want to find, that somewhere, somehow we figure if we do this, we wear the right clothes, drive the right cars, have the right amount of money, maybe then. But how about if we could short circuit that whole process, and instead of looking for that validation outside, find it within us? So I'm going to give you another really interesting exercise. If maybe you've heard of something called EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique. Well, it's just a technique that really helps a lot of people. And I'm going to have you just do this along with me. It's something you can do daily. You can do the same thing in front of a mirror, or you can do it using this EFT technique. If you do it in front of a mirror, then keep your eyes, look into your eyes when you're in front of the mirror and say these words: I accept myself as I am. I love myself unconditionally. I accept myself as I am. I love myself unconditionally. Okay, so we're going to do this using the EFT technique, and I'm going to show you that right now. So the EFT, it's also been called tapping, and it works because it really plants the message into your subconscious. So I'm going to do it with you. Please follow along, and let's see. You have to do this for a number of days after this whole webinar as well, and then see the results for yourself. So we'll start here. We'll start with, I love myself as I am. I love myself as I am. Just follow along with me. I love myself as I am. Then below the eyes, I love myself as I am. 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 I love myself unconditionally. 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 Then take a deep breath and let those words sink in. Really let them sink in. The biggest part is receiving. Receiving. The biggest part, the most important thing is receiving these words. Now, the reason that I start first with the idea of how perfect and amazing your soul is because that's a frame of reference that will always be a solid anchor for you. Your self-esteem based on your body can change. Your body can get older, it can get fatter, it can get, all kinds of ways it can get messed up. And your self-esteem could therefore change with that. Your mind might become slow or forgetful or whatever else. You might find your career going through ups and downs, but your soul will always be a steady frame of reference for you. So that's why I emphasize that as the most important part. And for that, all you've got to do, as I've been saying again and again, is take a deep breath and feel it. Don't try to understand it, feel it. And as you feel it, you will know exactly who you are. Let it be your identity. Let it be the basis of your existence. It will be your rock. It will hold you in the highest esteem always, not like your mind. Okay? So that's why I start with that. And now I'm giving you some additional tools that are a little more mechanical, but that also work and will also be helpful. So the first was doing this as an EFT technique. The other is look into the mirror and look into your eyes in the mirror and say the same words. I love myself as I am. I love myself unconditionally. And just keep saying that until it sinks in. The main thing is pause and breathe and take those words in. Let them sink in. Let them settle in. It's not about you have to be better. It's not about you have to prove anything. It's not about being more or worthy or any of that. None of that makes any sense. It's about loving yourself as you are. That's the greatest thing you can ever do for yourself. Okay, now with that, I'd like to add a few more things. Just on a day-to-day basis, learning to compliment yourself. Simple self-compliments. Hey, you're looking great today. Just telling yourself that. Oh, you're so just adorable. I find you so cute. I find you so delightful. Just learning how to be able to compliment yourself. And for those of you that might have a concern that this will lead to some kind of narcissism, well, do it with humility. Know that if you are beautiful, cute, smart, intelligent, wealthy, whatever it is a grace of God. It is not something, you may have a few things for that, but hey, you wouldn't be breathing, you wouldn't be alive, you wouldn't even exist if it weren't for that which created you. So give thanks to the Creator. A lot of folks, I often come with this idea that what you are is like, what exists within you comes from above. It comes from above. So feel it within you with deepest gratitude. Thank you for making me as I am. And if you are in gratitude to that which created you, you will find yourself always in a place of humility. You will acknowledge the artist for the art. Recognize what I'm saying here. The art does not exist without the artist. You did not create this face, these eyes, this smile, this intellect. You did not create it. It was created for you. It was not even created by your parents. Your parents had sex. That's it. They didn't create the body. They didn't decide what kind of eyes, nose, hair you would have. That is the credit of what we call the Creator or God. So constantly keep that in mind, because that will keep you in a place of humility, in a place of gratitude. It will keep you in a place of acknowledging that which you come from. Because if you don't, if you keep on judging and criticizing and hating yourself, then you are also judging and criticizing and hating that which you came from, the Creator. You were designed to be a certain way. And your job is not to judge and hate yourself, but it's actually to love and accept yourself. Maybe you don't look like others. Maybe you're not as pretty or smart or whatever as others. You may be not as athletic as. There's so many qualities I don't have that others have. There's so many quality things in me that are not as good. I used to look at so many people who were very accomplished in my field, and I would say, gosh, I can never be like that person. And I would feel inadequate. I would feel small. And I would think, there's no point. There's no point in me coming forward with the stuff that I think or feel. And people said to me, no, that's not true. You have unique things that they don't have, and they have unique things that you don't have, right? No one is perfect. No one has got everything. Everyone's got flaws and everyone's got good qualities. So they have strengths that you don't have. You have strengths they don't have. I may not be as knowledgeable and intellectual and as, you know, remember all the facts and figures and statistics, but I'm more spontaneous and I'm more heartfelt and I have my strengths, as do you. As do you. I held myself back for so long from doing these webinars and programs and coming forth uh, because I doubted myself. And perhaps you've doubted yourself. Perhaps you've thought you were not adequate enough or good enough for something. And hey, my challenge to you is, let's stop doing that. Let's all work together on this. I need your help as much as you need mine. So even though I'm here teaching this course, I need you as much as you need me. And that's why I'm going to say it now. Feel free to acknowledge whatever you're coming across in these webinars. Write comments, please, on my YouTube channel when you see the webinars there. Please subscribe there. Please let people know. I need that. It helps me. It encourages me. And I hope that I'll be able to encourage you as you go along. Let me know of your progress. Let me know what you're doing. All right. So self-compliments are really important, but receiving them is even more important. Think of yourself as a little child within you. And maybe you got a lot of compliments as a kid or not. I don't know. Maybe you had a lot of judgment, as I did. Maybe you had a lot of critical people around you, parents, teachers, friends. I did. So I had to learn these things. And it's important that you become the parent, the teacher, the friend, lover that you never had, the ideal lover, the ideal friend. And you praise yourself and compliment yourself on a regular basis and then receive those compliments just as a child. So think of that inner child in you needing practice in learning to receive. If you ever find yourself, people praise you and you're, no, it's okay, you make excuses, so you compliment them back, know that that's unhealthy. Learn to receive by saying thank you, with humility. Humility because whatever credit I have, whatever wonderful things I have, I give thanks to that which created me, to God. So in that humility, you'll be able to receive. You will not get arrogant. You will not become proud if that's what you're worried about. So let's continue and see what kind of questions we have out here. I have an interesting comment here from Namita, who writes, I permit myself to hurt and be hurt. But isn't that mean, hurting someone and permitting it? Hate, hate, hate. When will I change? Okay. So I think it brings us to a really important piece. How you treat yourself is going to be an indicator of how you treat others. If you deprecate yourself, you are likely to think deprecating thoughts about others, whether you say it or not. Maybe you're polite, maybe you're been told you shouldn't say those things, but you will think deprecating thoughts about others if you are doing that to yourself. The way you treat yourself is the way you're going to treat others. So another way to put that is, treat yourself as you would like others to treat you. In fact, when you treat yourself the way you treat yourself, you'll actually lay the pattern for how you would like others to treat you. Because the way you treat yourself, let's say you're very loving and kind with yourself, and then somebody comes along and is mean to you and nasty and critical. You'll simply put boundaries and say, no, excuse me, you don't talk to me like that. That's not acceptable in my world. You can talk to yourself like that if you want, to other people if you want, but that's not acceptable to me. And so I encourage you to change the self-talk into a nurturing self-talk, into a loving self-talk, and to set boundaries with your own mind to not allow critical self-talk, hateful self-talk, derogatory self-talk. Not allowed, not ever, not acceptable under any circumstances. Let your mind know when you make mistakes. I'm permitted to make mistakes. I have God-given permission to make mistakes, because you know what? I was given free will, which means that because it was known that I will screw up, I will mess up. I am not perfect. I never will be. Not at a human level anyway. At a soul level, yes, but not at a human level. So when you recognize yourself at a soul level as being perfect and at a human level flawed, that is what gives you the impetus for self-love. That is what teaches you unconditional love. You see, as I talked about in the pre-recorded section, if you were created perfect, then there would be no way to cultivate unconditional love. But this dichotomy, this human part that is flawed and this soul part that is perfect, allows for us to cultivate true unconditional love. Once we do it with ourselves, we'll be able to do it with our spouse, our friend, our lover, our child, whoever else you come across. You'll be able to offer them unconditional love. And I find this to be deeply true because I've tested the waters, I've tried it out, and I've seen the results. I found that because I stopped judging myself, I stopped judging others. I found that because I turned off the criticism tap within myself, it turned off with others. You know, there was a line that I came across many years ago, more than 20 years ago, from the Bible, which said, "Judge not, lest you be judged." Now, I knew I did not like being judged. I got a big dose of that when I was growing up. I certainly didn't like it. So I made it a policy that I would not judge others because I didn't like them judging me. Think about it. And if you make that a rule, as I did, if you stop judging yourself, you will easily stop judging others. If you stop judging yourself, you will easily stop judging others, because that which you do to yourself is what you will do with others. Even another line of the Bible says, "Love thy neighbor as thyself." Most people forget the "as thyself" part. But it means that you first love yourself, and from there, you'll be able to love others. It's a coded message, I think. People don't seem to get that part of it. So let me read to you a little bit from Loving Soulfully, because I've talked about these things there. And I think you'll find it inspiring. "What you long for cannot be found outside of you. The treasure you seek, the answer to all your troubles, lies freely, abundantly, and endlessly within you. Within within you lies yourself, your soul, your essence. Therein shall you find the fulfillment of all your desires. Therein shall you find unlimited, everlasting peace, love, joy, and wisdom. What you do not see within will be invisible in your world, and what you see within, you will find everywhere. Love not another unless you have first learned to love yourself. Seek not the one who will fulfill and love you like no other. The one you seek lies within." No one can open the doors to the paradise within except you. No one can free you from the prison of existence except you. No one can save you, liberate you, or enlighten you except you. No one can give you what you need unless you give it to yourself first. Unleash your inner power by embracing yourself as you are. See how breathtakingly beautiful you are. Hear how brilliant, wise, and talented you are. Know that you are perfect with all of your flaws and imperfections. You are the perfection you have been seeking. Live true to your higher self or to your soul. Align with its wisdom and let it be your guiding light. So I hope you'll take those words to heart, and I hope you'll live by them. And I'd love to know of your journey and how you worked with that and what your story was, because your stories are essential. Through your stories, I learn. Through your stories, I'm able to find what is wonderful in all of this. I don't know, unless it may be considered a learning, or because the only way you're going to learn, see, scientists do experiments in labs. They have a lab, a laboratory where they do their experiments. But as human beings, our experiment is within ourselves. So please take these things and experiment with them. Try them out. Don't believe me, don't disbelieve me. Just try it out. Try it out a few times, because like in any experiment that's done in a lab, you need to be able to test it in different ways under different circumstances and see if it really works or it doesn't. So it's really amazing we can do this for ourselves. Self-love. We don't have to depend on another person. I'm still waiting for questions, so if you all have any more, please feel free to write. I'm wanting to hear what your feedback is or your thoughts. But yeah, it is amazing that we can do this for ourselves and not depend on anyone else. You'll find that when you do it for yourself, you will be much more successful than you will if you wait for others to turn around and love you. So if you like the work that I'm doing, I'd love your feedback. I'd love for you to go to the YouTube channel I've started. I'd love for you to subscribe there, to write your comments. I see a lot of people watching the videos, but not necessarily subscribing. So please, my humble request is go there and subscribe. Just type my name in Rohit Juneja, type in Loving Soulfully, and you'll find me. And when you're there, subscribe so you'll be able to see the videos as I post them. As I said, I'm going to be doing this series for another 3 more episodes. And then after that, I'm going to do a whole new thing. I've got other ideas in mind that I'll be doing. So keep watching the episodes as they show up. If you have requests or things you'd like to have me do, then feel free to ask me those things. I'd love to hear your feedback. I'd love to know what you like. And also put down a list of topics that you might like to have me talk about. So go ahead and answer that poll. There's an interesting poll in your chat area right now. And yeah, besides all of that, I'd love for you to support my work here. If you want, you can go to Patreon and you can become a patron of this channel. And I'll put that up as well. Yeah, so you can become a patron for as little as $2 a month, but as much as you like. And the idea is write your reviews of Loving Soulfully on Amazon, subscribe to the channel, become a patron in whichever way you like. Comment. It's all good. It's all appreciated. It all is meaningful, and it will all encourage me to continue this work. So I hope that you will keep participating and keep coming back for live webinars, because your presence makes all the difference. It keeps me going, and it keeps me encouraged, and it keeps me hopeful that this work is having an impact on people. In the upcoming webinars, I'll be talking about how to bring this quality of soul love to your relationships, how to find your soulmates, how to be able to love them. Because if you don't haven't found that soul love within yourself, then it's going to be really hard to find your soulmate. You won't recognize them. And even if you do come across them, you won't know how to be with them. There are two kinds of soulmates, and I'm giving you a little tip on what I'm going to talk about coming up next. And that's going to be the karmic soulmate or the evolutionary soulmate. I'll tell you more about that in the upcoming webinars. And meanwhile, if there's any last questions, I'll just take a look at the chat area. And why is it, Christy asks, why is it so hard to practice self-love, but so easy to self-criticize? Okay, great question, Christy. Thank you so much. Self-criticism actually comes naturally to us. It is the default of the mind. Carl Jung and others who practice the more spiritual psychotherapy talk about the inner critic. We all have it. The inner judge. We all have one. And what's important to know is that as a default, it is there. It's also there because it was what was programmed in. We're in a loop here. Our parents, our teachers, our friends have all been critical of us. And in time, our mind has learned to be critical of ourselves. But all that can be changed with a little bit of effort. It does take a little effort. It does take setting boundaries. It does take letting your mind know how it can treat you, what's permissible and what's not permissible. If you don't set boundaries with your mind, and this is really the most important part, that's why I say the most important word you can learn is no with your mind. Firmly, assertively stated, no. When you're being assertive, what's really important is this. Try this out. Put your shoulders back, make your spine erect, your eyes wide open, and say no. You don't need to raise your voice. You don't need to shout. You don't need to be nasty. You simply need to say it firmly. No. See how I'm doing it? No. Try it out. Try it now. No. And you say that to your mind. No, you will not talk to me like that. No, you will not judge me. And then practice loving self-talk. Change your inner self-talk. Okay? Because the mind is going to want to talk. You have to give it some space, some breathing space. So to do that, you change the self-talk into a more nurturing, more loving. I love you, sweetheart. You're wonderful. I appreciate the things you do. Look at this amazing thing you did right now. You have to give it evidence. You have to give it proof. And then it will latch on. So when you give it an alternative way of communicating with you, your mind will start to adopt that. But it will take practice. When you were judged as a child, and that's where you learned it from, it was done by repetition again and again and again. And so it got programmed. To reprogram yourself, you're going to have to do it again and again and again. And then you'll see how things change inside for you. Peace got a comment here. Thanks for your webinar. I know the truth of your words as I have discovered them by myself. Oh, thank you, Pete. Thank you so much for that acknowledgement. Thank you for having done this for yourself. I really appreciate those who have experimented with self-love. And true self-love, as I say, comes from the soul. It comes from deep within you. It is not a product of the mind. For the mind, as Christy said, it's hard. It's a struggle. But for your soul, it's easy. So whenever you want to acknowledge yourself, take a deep breath first. Connect with your soul. Allow that part of you to speak. You might say, well, how do I know it's my soul speaking or it's my mind speaking? Don't worry about those things. Take a deep breath. Connect and allow. Just allow. That's it. Allow your soul to come through. Just invite it. I love you as you are. I love the things you do. I love your eyes. I love your smile. You are incredible. But let it come from your soul, because your soul is non-judgmental. It is not critical. And it knows exactly how to love you the way nobody has ever loved you. And once you got this down, your doorway to finding a soulmate and knowing how to love them is going to open wide. Please invite your friends, maybe your potential soulmates and lovers and friends and spouses, to also listen to this webinar. Even if they miss the recordings, the live event, let them come to the recording. And that way you'll get them ready for a relationship with them in which you can actually experience all love as a tangible, practical reality. I think we're all capable of this. I think we all can have this experience. To get there, we need to be able to first practice in ourselves, get others to also learn, and then we can have a relationship with them that is of this caliber and this quality. If you've been finding that your relationships till now were inadequate, not quite the way you'd like them, then this is your chance. This is your chance to learn a whole different way of loving and being loved. Molly writes, thanks for your work, Rohit. Keep it up. Thank you. And with that, I'm going to bring the webinar to a close. Please remember to subscribe, to leave your comments on the YouTube channel, and please keep coming back because your presence here means the world to me. You really do matter, and I appreciate you being in my life. Thank you. And lots of love, and lots of love to you. I love you.